United States says that Russia has committed crimes against humanity in Ukraine. The United States has determined that Russia has committed crimes against humanity in Ukraine. This is according to Vice President Kamala Harris, who made the statement on Saturday. She insisted that, quote, justice must be served to the perpetrators. Speaking at the Munich Security Conference, Vice President Harris said the international community has both a moral and a strategic interest in pursuing those crimes, pointing to a danger of other authoritarian governments that might take advantage if international rules are undermined. Quote, Russian forces have pursued a widespread and systemic attack against a civilian population. Gruesome acts of murder, torture, rape, and deportation, Harris said. She also cited, quote, execution-style killings, beatings, and electrocution. The Biden administration formally determined last March that Russian troops had committed war crimes inside Ukraine and said it would work with others to prosecute offenders. A determination of crimes against humanity goes a step further, indicating that attacks against civilians are being carried out in a widespread and systemic manner. The United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who also was attending the Munich conference, said in a statement that was issued as Harris spoke that, quote, we reserve crimes against humanity determinations for the most egregious crimes. The new determination underlines the staggering extent of suffering inflicted on Ukrainian civilians and, quote, also reflects the deep commitment of the United States to holding members of Russia's forces and other Russian officials accountable for their atrocities, he said. During an address to his country on Saturday, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Kyiv this week had gotten, quote, strong signals from our partners, specific agreements on the inevitability of holding Russia accountable for aggression, for terror against Ukraine and its people. While Western officials defended arms supplies to Ukraine, China's top diplomat Wang Yi called for an end to the war through peace talks, saying Beijing was, quote, deeply worried about the expansion and long-term effect of this war. China has refused to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine or to impose sanctions on Moscow like Western nations have done. Without naming any countries, Wang said, quote, there may be forces that don't want the war to stop anytime soon. Quote, what they care about is not the life and death of the Ukrainian people, nor the increasing damage to Europe. They probably have bigger strategic goals than Ukraine, he said. The Russian ambassador to the United States, Anatoly Antonov, has slammed accusations by Washington that Russia had committed, quote, crimes against humanity, as an attempt to vilify Moscow and to escalate the conflict in Ukraine. Quote, we consider such insinuations as an attempt unprecedented in terms of its cynicism to demonize Russia in the course of a hybrid war unleashed against us, Antonov said, in response to a question from reporters on Sunday. He then added that these claims were being used to, quote, justify Washington's own actions to fuel the Ukrainian crisis and keep militarizing Kiev. The diplomat also accused the United States of turning a, quote, blind eye to Kiev's actions in the conflict and, quote, completely ignoring years of shelling settlements in the Donbass region.